Good evening, everyone. Whether or not you're tuning in live or hello, 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 one, two, check. Okay, whether or not you're tuning in live or afterwards, thank you for doing so. I really appreciate this. Happy Libra full moon. I'm so curious to know how it's been for everyone. Um, it has been pretty interesting for me in the sense that a lot of my inner layers are coming out. I've had my fair share of relationship uh, restructuring, realizing truths about people that were uncomfortable, people who I thought were one way, but turned out to be entirely different, people reacting and projecting because of their own um, inner shadows and things that they're working through. This is a card I pulled today, so it's at the bottom of the deck, but this is the energy that I was this is the energy that I needed to contemplate within myself, within other people who I never thought would show up in this way, within people who I thought were like all right enough to be able to recognize when it is that this side of themselves was projecting. So facing a lot of disappointments, to be honest. Um, a lot of realness, a lot of reminders that we are human, and as humans, we are totally imperfect. And as cliche as it sounds, that's supposed to be the perfect thing about us, is that we have the room to be as imperfect as ever. We're not, we are not obliged to be flawless. We don't need to be God. We can just be our little human selves and know that we are always going to be forgiven. And that's a big theme that has come up for me for the Libra full moon, is that I really, really needed to learn how to forgive myself. I had all the room to forgive other people and to give people plenty of chances. But when it came to my own self, I have been putting myself so deeply under pressure that I've kind of been, I, in that way, I have been my own blockage to my blessings, to my own blessings, to my own ability to build a life for myself and move on, find joy, and live it truthfully. Just haven't forgiven myself for plenty of things, but largely because of the fact that I just never learned how to forgive myself. That's really all it has always been. But I'm learning. This Libra full moon brought a lot of forced learning on how to really face myself and understand how the way that I live and my relationships and the relationships that I choose to engage in, and the relationships that I choose to give less attention to, are all a reflection of what's going on in my inner world. Um, and not just what's going on in my inner world, but what I'm choosing to focus on. So within me, I choose, if I'm going to within me choose to not focus on myself, that I'm going to reflect that kind of thing in the relationships that I choose, where I choose relationships and connections that do not focus on me. So, excuse me, I've been working a lot on trying to live a more me-centered life without being too selfish about it. Prioritizing my needs more than usual, on the thin line of being selfish. But I read something, I think it was today, about how people will make the mistake of calling you selfish if it is that they, well, I mean, I think it's something we all know. People are going to make the mistake of calling you selfish if it is that they're used to infringing on your boundaries. So just learning how to accept that part of myself, accept the fact that my boundaries have been absolute shit. And that is the greater reason as to how I haven't been able to manifest proper things for myself, live a life that is a proper reflection of the love and the joy that I believe I can hold. As it turns out, as I mentioned, I don't actually know how to hold love and joy for myself. I am perfectly fine at holding it for other people, which I think I mentioned in the last reading, was a total misdirection of energy. I wanted to call it a mistake, but I don't think love in any form is a mistake, even if it is that you pour it too much into other people. I don't think that love can be a mistake. It's always a lesson in the way that it plays out. As well, before I came onto this reading, I had tried to organize some notes because I wanted to be more organized. But I realized that that was actually a little bit of a reflection of my control issues, which is another thing that shows up with this Libra full moon, with the restructuring of my relationship with myself, my relationship related to other people. I've been unable to relate to other people because I'm so tight on trying to control the way that I respond and the way that I show up. And I've actually mentioned this regularly, even in not just readings, but videos of yaps that I post here, where uh, yeah, my control issues spill over in the way that I'm able to relate to other people and show up in my relationships. So I've been needing to restructure that within myself to kind of, again, like I've already mentioned, forgive myself and to let go. Try to be freer and more open hearted, more willing to show up free in each moment. I do a thing where I refuse to show up when I am feeling depressed, when I'm feeling like too miserable. But that in itself was a reflection of my control issues because I believed that I was trying to be more, I don't know, I guess loving. I was trying to be more of a reflection of love in my relationships. But that was a very poor reflection of love for myself. Isolating when I'm depressed and actually need connection is a very poor reflection of love for myself. Um, and I need to, I'm still trying to rework that so that I start showing up more honestly in my connections. Shit like that. Um, so I, on that note, I do have notes, but I mean, now I'm trying to be raw in this moment. Libra full moon coded. I'm trying to learn how to be honest with myself, show up honestly, and rework my relationship with myself in the moment so that I can be more present and have a proper relationship with other people, with the things that I do, the way that I invest my time, with where I pour my energy into. I wanted to mention regarding the Libra full moon, this one that, I mean, because I'm a yearner, I'm always yearning. I'm always yearning for connection with other people. And I was hoping on some level that this Libra full moon would bring me some kind of connection with other people, a renewal of old connections, or just a new connection in general. But as I'm sitting here and as I came into this day, I realized that this Libra full moon, and I mean, as I've been yapping about so far, is based on connection with yourself so that you can start bringing in proper connections with other people. And so that your connections with other people can reflect a truth of yourself within. So that going, hey, Pearl, going in, tell me how you are. Tell me how you are, girl. How's your week been? So that going into the future, it has to start more often being about yourself, being about ourselves and our relationship with ourselves. It's always been about you, as I put in the title. It's always been about you. You have always been not just the star, but like the director. The equipment is you. The camera crew is you. The lens is you. It's all you. It's all a very fine reflection of you. And how fine it is, um, it's like there's been a gap of understanding between the way that we live our lives and how it's a reflection of our inner world and the way that the actual reflection of our inner world plays out, this gap is like it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, which I think with the way that the gap is getting smaller and smaller, I think is a reflection of the way the veil is thinning, basically gone, a reflection of the way that there are more coincidences happening, and the way that we feel like God is closer, our ancestors, etc., etc. It's like yeah, the way the energy is feeling more potent, the way we are getting more. I mean, we've always been affected by the planets, but the way that we are all becoming more aware of it, there's a gap that's thinning, so that the way that we live, our manifestations, the way that they show up, um, it's not even that it's going to start happening more in real time. It's always been happening in real time. Our eyes are opening wider to the fact that it's always to how quickly we are actually manifesting our lives, and we're going to become a lot better at it. This Libra full moon is effectively like it's a relationship with the self, allowing us to see the relationship of our world, and then allowing us to build relationship with others. It's like there are layers and layers and layers to this experience. Or I guess maybe the way that we are seeing and experiencing life is becoming, the layers are clearer. Our relationship with the layers are clearer. Yeah. I don't think I have anything more to add. I'd like to read from my notes now. After days of frustration with my phone, it suddenly started working again. Yeah, I feel fresh, vitalized, and ready to take on the world. Awesome. I'm happy to know that. What a relief as well. I love it when that happens and when it happens in perfect time. I figured. That's incredible. So before going on this live, I was watching another live of my fave, Queen Cup Tarot, Destiny. She hasn't been on YouTube for a while, but she loaded a few hours ago, which is incredible. I was still watching through it and thought that I'd be able to sit through it before coming on here, but I think I just want to come with my own energy and then finish it off after. So anyway, um, oh, I have. So I gave myself a reading on my current issues, and I just want to put it out there just in case someone else might relate to what I got. So it gave me that I have issues with absolutism, terror of losing face, which is what I mentioned earlier, which is what I mentioned earlier, which has to do with why I delayed coming online, trying to take notes and stuff, instead of just coming on raw and just, giving you what I've got in the moment. So yeah. I suffer from short-term mentality, too focused on pleasures, which probably has to do with my addictive personality. It said I only care for getting my own way, which is interesting because of this full moon and how I mentioned we're working on prioritizing ourselves more. So I guess I'd say getting in. I'm reading this all fresh again. Not fresh. I'm reading this all for the first time on camera since I think touching it a day ago, and it was very personal. So I'm breaking it down now in front of you in real time. Care for getting care only for getting your own way with regards to the ego. So I suppose the needing to understand the relationship between your ego versus the relationship between you and your soul, between you and your ancestors, between you and the work that you're here to do, between you and your spirit, needing to separate all of those things and understand the intention of where you're working from, the root of where you're working from, and getting that relationship with yourself very clear. I'd say your relationship with your shadows as well is something that's been coming up a lot, not just for me, but for other people, and your relationship with other people's shadows, and needing to learn how to love people or choosing whether or not you can actually handle other people's shadows, whether or not you love them unconditionally enough, or, and just by the way, you're not obligated to love people unconditionally. It's something we learn because we're striving and climbing to be God, but we don't actually have to do that. And you're better off facing your capacity to forgive and love people through their flaws. You're better off accepting that, okay, I can't actually love you. I can't actually love you unconditionally, versus trying to stretch your heart open and do it. I will say that I am very dedicated, though, to that. Mm, I know I don't have to, but I am still striving absolutely for unconditional love, because I know that it's going to leave me more peaceful in the end. But you don't have to do that. You have all the room to hate people so much, swear at them. I've always found that people who can actually do that and who can very clearly hate, um, they manifest better. And I've said this before. Contempt for others and loss of soul for yourself. So this is all with respect to me. Frenetic activity with no space to draw breath, reflect, stress, time pressure, too many deadlines, and self-destructive urges. Um, I've been so this is part of my need to forgive myself, um, for the way that I'm choosing to live my life. Um, I've been I've been putting myself under a lot of time pressure because of how I because of how I'm suffering. I'm suffering with inner pressures of my life should look a certain way by this time. Because of how other people's lives look a certain way at this age. And I'm this age and I expected to have all these things, and people around me in my community this age have all these things, but I don't have all these things. Da, 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 da. Yeah, it's too much. The whole comparison thing. We all know about it, but I mean, the yeah, it creeps up on you. Like, I can say that I know the lesson of not comparing myself to other people, that I walk my own journey, but integrating that and putting it into daily practice, reminding myself that I can be slow. I am forgiven for anything I choose to do. It's okay for me to live my life exactly the way I want to, exactly the way I want to. It's been very difficult. And allowing the flow of emotion to take over. In the reading, it showed up as a good thing. But I do think that for someone like me who's water dominant, tropical Scorpio, stellium, etc., I think it's played out. I think I've done a lot. I've done almost too much feeling and not enough moving and doing and actioning. And that's that has been coupled with the deadlines and pressure that I've been putting on myself, which again is all coupled with my relationship with myself, and how this full moon has really put a spotlight on how I am so unforgiving and so hard on myself. Um, I really don't allow myself to be myself. And it's starting to really, it's starting to really press on me. Like, I'm going through very intense physical symptoms of like heart opening, mind and womb body processing. It showed up in the form of like really random aches. Today, this finger was very sore. It was very sore briefly. Um, and I'd microdosed a bit. And towards the end of it, like moving through my body, this finger started hurting, which apparently has to do with the eye. The eye. So this area here. Um, so those kind of symptoms have been showing up. Um, yeah, lots of emotional processing. I'm happy today that I didn't allow it to kind of take me over, because that pain was very sore. It's absolutely gone now. It's crazy how it's gone now. I'm still in disbelief. It was so painful. And it was painful all of 10 minutes. And had I allowed my emotions to get in front of me, I would have absolutely stressed out, wanted to go to the doctor, get some medicine or something. But I was able to calm down, center myself, and remember how sometimes the inner processing show up physically, obviously, and just taking each moment by the moment. And then the overall, in bold, the messaging that I have here reads: start connecting more with the people you love, who you feel fair reciprocation from. Stop putting a deadline on when you expect to be successful, when you expect to move out, etc. Really show content for others. Let people be who they are, and you simply be yourself. Do what you feel like when you feel like. Keep focusing and dreaming the bigger picture of who you want to be, the kind of things you want to be able to do for yourself, and the kind of love and life you want for yourself. Yeah. So basically more of the, I guess, almost toxic positivity of making sure that you focus exactly on what you want and keep holding it in your mind's eye over and over and over again. And make sure that when you hold it in your mind's eye, you're not holding it with the emotion of, oh, it's going to be so long until I have it. When will I have it? I'm so upset that I don't have it. That drop, try to get rid of it and only focus on the joy and the light and the upbeat feeling of how you feel once you have the thing that you want. Um, I had also posted on my Instagram about how someone tweeted about how the astrological transits that are happening right now, because apparently they're all conjunct Saturn, um, there's this hardness coupled with the dreaming that kind of tries to show up as being realistic, but is on the line of pessimism. Um, Try to be really careful about being pessimistic and being like about your dreams and how long it's taken for it to come. It will come. It will come. And we have to be really patient with our unfolding and with the vision of how they will come. Because I've also been having a tough time with understanding that the things that I want may not come in the way that I expect them to. Um, I keep trying to make a step by step of like, this is how it's going to happen, that I get my money and then I move out and then da 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 da. Da. There's no telling how it's going to happen. We have no idea what the future holds. Even worse now because of how we're in this future of everything crumbling every day. Every day there's something totally ridiculous happening. Every day there's something totally ridiculous happening. And you can see, I mean, outside of the fact that the external structures are crumbling, is everyone not acting crazy? Everyone's acting weird. Everyone's projecting. We're all like, I mean, our own internal emotions are going haywire. Um, Going out just for grocery shopping today was so intense. It was so intense. Remembering, I tweeted about this, remembering that there are other egos who believe that their story is the most important story and bumping up against those egos because you also believe that your story is the most important story and it is for you. Two individuals believing that same thing and then bumping against each other, even energetically, even if they don't interact, just two energies, two of those energies who believe that they're the most important thing in the world, crossing each other, just blissfully, like just an air breeze, crushing each other like that. It creates a friction, it creates a tension in the air. It does a zzz thing that is intense. um, I mean, if I think someone if you're someone like me who is very sensitive and is just naturally aware of other people's like vibes and responses and the way that their energy reverberates into the space, um, yeah, it's a lot, is what I'm trying to essentially get at. It's a lot. So yeah, grounding, meditation, water, and really staying off social media. Staying off social media. And maybe because social media and the internet do this to the world and the way we perceive it, maybe honing it down a little. I blocked my profile on Twitter, and that helped do a thing, just to close it down and have it be a bit more quiet and almost controlled in a way. But yeah, being very particular about about where you place your energy. It's like wherever we look and wherever, yeah, whatever we are, it's like our minds. I'm jumping everywhere. Our minds have their own hand. They have their own ethereal hand. And when we look, we touch it. When we think about people, we're touching them with our ethereal mind hand. We have to keeping our hand here on ourselves or on our heart or on our womb, anywhere within, so that we can be balanced and centered and calmer. So, and The reader who I tuned into, Queen Cup Tarot, I'll actually link the reading that she did recently. She mentioned how part of the reason why she was struggling to show up was because she was running away. Um, very that coded. I think that people who are aware enough of themselves, I mean, yeah, we've been in this game for a while. We're going through another awakening, and and it's extra painful. I'm laughing at the pain. It's extra painful because of how deep and lodged this level of awakening is. Like, it's easy to awaken on the level that realizes that the government is there. It's government bodies are set up and they all greedy and money and schools and mind programming, all of that. Like, that's easy. The collect unlocking from the collective, um, unlocking from the collective layer is easy. Now it feels like we're unlocking and awakening from the individual layer, which is from our family matrices, um, from our own mind programming, from the own Libra full moon, from our own harshness, from the way that we held our own selves back. That kind of awakening is a thing that I think is more painful than it's more painful than any kind of awakening that um yeah, it's more painful than the outer layer awakening because of this, because of how we have to face how the monster within, so to speak. So uh yeah, we're doing we are facing at this stage an awakening of facing our inner shadows, our own demons and devils that were formed within ourselves, that maybe the outside world influenced and programmed, but once that programming was done, being put on us from the outside, there was still a programming within that was still running, that is still running, that has still been running. It's about to shut down now. And that shutting down is painful. It hurts and it's difficult to face yourself as this is happening. So, as I say in every other reading, I hope we can be gentle with ourselves. And as I've said, has arrived with this Libra full moon, forgive yourself for everything. If you're someone like me who has been stagnant for years now, and you feel like you should be at a certain point in your life that you are not, you hoped for something to happen by now and it hasn't happened, forgive yourself for that. It's not your fault, it's no one's fault. It just is what it is. This is your story and this is how it's unfolding. The majority of it isn't actually under your control. The only thing that's really under our control is our own feelings and the way that we can interact with them to kind of allow it to pass through us. That's it, though. That's it. We are deluded in thinking that we are in control of anything else more. We are not. So release that, forgive yourself for that, and try to really. It sounds so trivial coming out now, but I have to say, try to really be joyful. Try just focus on your joy. Just focus on being joyful. That's it. Just focus on your joyful self. The end. And as I mentioned in the last reading, your most joyful self, I don't know if I mentioned in the last reading, but anyway, I believe your most joyful self is your most authentic self. So just focus on that. That is all. That is it. There's nothing else for you to do. Forgive yourself for anything else that you think you should be doing because you're not meant to be doing it. Because if you were meant to be doing it, then you'd be doing it right now. Everything that you do is exactly what you're meant to be doing, and everything that you're not doing is not done because you're not meant to be doing it. That's a note to self. Because I have been struggling very much with that thought and with needing to forgive myself for things that I thought I should be doing, that I think I should be doing. Forgiving myself for living this life versus the life I think I should be living or that I thought I would be living by now. Cut it out. cut it out. And then this this is just a brief thing because of what I experienced. I've been pulling cards over the past few days that I would think when I pull them as they fall out, I thought that they would be for me, but they weren't for me, but they did affect me. So just the whole just feel like touching on the understanding that, excuse me, we are, while it is that we are seeking individual experiences, and that the truth of our experience is that it is a very individual experience. Our individual experience is also affected by the relational aspect. Like, everything that we are is due to the relational factor. Um, Everything exists relative to another thing. Something, I am only here because I'm next to or on a chair. I am here because I am relative to being my parents' child. They're there because they're relative to being their parents' child. You know what I mean? So while we're focusing on our individual self, healing our relationship with ourselves, we cannot forget and not and we cannot forget and neglect making room for the other. Um, there has to be a balance. Otherwise, it becomes very unhealthy. As I tweeted, I'm remembering tweeting about an experience I have with someone I know who has tried to, like, kill his identity, because he believes that releasing his identity will bring him freedom. He's completely let go of he's completely let go of the I relating to the other, so that there's no I, and he's just out here relating to the other. Obviously, that's going to result in, like, horrible depression, which is where he's at right now. So, you can't let go of the ego and only live through the other, and you can't only hold the ego and let go of the other. There has to be a balance between those two. Libra full moon, the scales. We're finding the middle ground here so that the scales stop tipping, so that they're, like, solid. And then I read this idea in this book that I'm reading. A Body is a Doorway. I'm still working through it. I think it's one of the best books I've ever read, called homophrosyne. 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 Okay, I'm gonna put the word in the description, um, because I'm pretty sure that I'm pronouncing it strangely. But anyway, it's this whole idea how um, of how okay, I don't know how to describe it from the top of my head because I just read this idea today, but I typed, you don't meet the person you love, you and the person you love meet at the same place and then love. So it's like, um it's the whole idea of how, while you're sitting here, your soulmate is over there, likely working on the same kind of things that you're working on. You know what I mean? So the slow pace towards even your dreams, that's the kind of relationship we have with our dreams, with our dreams coming true and manifesting. It's not even that, it's not that they're coming to us, it's that we're walking alongside each other. You and your dreams are walking alongside each other, and you are due to meet at a meeting point, at the same place. So it's, again, the idea that I tweeted about today, where we're all ruled by this magnetic force, God, love, whatever, that pulls us towards certain happenings, towards specific moments that are bound to unfold. And again, emphasizing the fact that you don't need to do any more work outside of feeling your feelings, and then just letting them, feeling your feelings and allowing decisions to arise from the things that you feel, and then following through with those decisions. It's really, we've always been living this simple life of, like, of feeling, action, consequence. That's the cycle that I'm feeling right now. This obviously may be wrong once once I rewatch it. But what I'm feeling in this moment is we feel something, we do an action, a consequence happens from it. We feel about the consequence, we do an action, a consequence happens from that, and then we just go in a loop. We're working on breaking that loop. We always are working on breaking that loop because we come from lineages that played the loop of following or making an action from a feeling of lack, depression, sadness, etc., so that the action consequence is rooted in lack, depression, fear, whatever. Now, which is why it's so important to feel and try to focus on feeling at least authenticity, not joy, even love. That's all can be brewed from a sense of truth within the self. At least be true to yourself so that your actions and the consequences that arise from that and the loop that you experience overall is one of truth, not one of fear or one of lack. We're reworking to live loops of truth, not loops of fear or loops of lack. So more than ever, we need to make sure that our decisions are made and rooted in truth. Whatever your truth is in the moment, if you experience your truth in this moment to be that of I want to focus on myself, then follow that truth, follow that sense within. Never of fear, never of what if, never of, oh my God, I'm so scared. Or what if it runs out? Yeah, I'm sure we will get the picture. Queen Kaptara also mentioned in her reading that I'd like to extend here that because it also fell out in today's reading, the Empress fell out in this morning's reading that I gave for myself, which speaks about the art of receiving. She mentioned how part of what may be the cause of why we are not living in our manifestations right now is because we don't actually have the capacity to experience them, which is actually true. And if I can personalize it, I yearning for a lover, would love him, but I know that I don't actually have the capacity to believe him if he showed up right now. I wouldn't believe him. I think he's lying. And I would probably accuse him of being a liar. I just wouldn't process. I wouldn't believe it. I'm in a I mean I'm in a state of like having extra funds right now that I am currently not even in a state of believing that I deserve. So they've kind of just been sitting there because I'm too scared to spend it. Because I'm already feeling fear of, oh my God, what if not more money comes? When will I get money again? See? So again, we have to be patient with ourselves and be patient with the loop that we're working through. We are reprogramming something fierce within us, and it's going to take a lot more work. While yes, we should hold it in our mind's eye. We should try to center ourselves. There is work that has to be done that is completely out of our hands, that we have to surrender to, as I mentioned last week, the wisdom of our bodies. It's like every time we are holding something we want in our mind's eye, or every time we are reprogramming in order to work from a place of love instead of fear, something within us has to release first, which, as I mentioned earlier, may show up in the form of physical symptoms, like how it showed up for me, random pains in random parts of the body. I experienced a lot of heart opening this week, and it brought me literal physical chest pains. Very random, very out of nowhere, would last all of like maybe 10 minutes to half an hour, and then it would be gone. Yeah. Be patient with yourself and with the way that your dreams are unfolding. Never, ever, ever, even for a second. I mean, I have done that. And just by the way, this is what happens with our dreams and our desires every time we even think for a second that they might not happen. They're always going to happen. It is always 100% guaranteed that we get what we want. So we're walking this road, we're walking this path of going towards what we want. I'm trying to see myself ourselves. We're walking this path of going towards what we want. For 1 second, we believe, oh no, it's not going to happen. We put ourselves back. It still happens though. We're still walking towards what we want because we want it. We're going, we're going, we're going. 1 second spent feeling like, oh my God, it's not going to happen. We go back and then we go forward again. And that's the kind of programming we're working with. It's like we're fighting ourselves. It's only ourselves that are getting in the way of ourselves. Even our manifestations, it's like, oh, yeah, no, I don't want to get too far into that, but the understanding is we're working through a lot of stuff. We're working through a lot of stuff. And yeah, that's it. Everything else I've already mentioned. So I'm going to pull cards now. It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. Sorry, I just need to drink water. We're very validated in feeling any sort of stress. I described our journey doing this and how, like, we're going, we're going, we're going. 1 second spent feeling depressed, we go back. That 1 second is totally valid. And even feeling that in itself is part of the bigger picture. You have to also understand that you were destined. Any moment that you feel or go through was destined. It was written. It was supposed to happen. It is meant to happen. Very unfortunate relative though to people who suffer, people who are murdered. That is a whole. That is. Excuse me. That is a very. Yeah. There's only so much I can speak on about that. But I'll personalize it to say that I know that every single moment of suffering that I have ever gone through was meant. It was written. And all the people who have unfortunately died in my life, all the people who haven't made it to see this far of the journey, for the sake of the bigger picture, they were meant to die when they did. And, Kamagu Tokozan, we are always returning to God. We always return to God. And that's my comfort beyond anything else at the end of the day, is that we return to God. And only God knows. Only God knows. We don't even know. And while we're on this journey to awakening and like realizing God, we have to remember that we will never be God. We will never have God's eye. We will never have God's mind, not fully. We're here to be human. If we were meant to be God, then we would have stayed as God. But we're here to be human and we're here to be ourselves. We're here to be our individual selves as human beings with egos and imperfections and flaws, as I said. So all of that to say that, yeah, we're perfect as we are and everything is perfect. Even when it's absolutely awful, even when it's terrible and shitty, everything is perfect. And at the end of the day, we can all rely on the bliss of God that we will return to at the end of our lives. We all do. We will all return to that bliss or that nothingness or whatever it is that you believe happens after death. It's all an individual thing. So I'm shuffling now so that a card may fall on the energy that we can embody in order to understand exactly how it is that we can align our truths and our stories on how the as within, so without relationship can be more exact and more accurate. Because right now we are doing the work of making it more accurate so that our external worlds can accurately reflect our desires, because it's like our desires are floating here and the reflection of what we are living is actually, okay, our desires are here, our truths are here. What we are living and seeing is reflecting our truths. I want to pull cards to understand how we can ground our desires here so that our outer life can start reflecting this grounding. What is missing? What's the gap? What's that gap? Is what I'm pulling cards for. Last week, it was relative to needing to ground ourselves, live more from the truth of our bones. That's what Queen Cup Tarot read today, to say that we are needing to follow our intuitions deeper than ever, which is actually what I'd mentioned last week. We have to do it beyond sense, beyond logic. If you feel like doing something that may not make sense, try not to question it. I believe, to be fair, because this journey of following intuition is very uncomfortable. So it's naturally going to feel like, wait, are you sure? Try to do it anyway. You don't want to regret not following your intuition. It sucks. It sucks. That's my biggest regret in life, actually, is not listening and following my inner voice. It's put me in really shitty positions that have left me feeling drained and deeply depressed. Every time I feel deeply depressed, I know it's because I'm not really listening to myself. The One of Swords fell out. So I guess what I can say is needing to. Okay, I honestly think that we just need to keep focusing on on getting clear with our intentions, right? The cycle that I'd mentioned earlier, the intention, feeling, action, consequence. Intention, feeling, action, consequence, whatever. That cycle that I was talking about, the way we feel relative to our intention needs to be grounded. So uh start activating your intention more intentionally. Start moving more intensely from your intention. So it's going to sound, this is a really extreme example, but if you're doing something now where you're working from survival and you're only working a job because you don't want to run out of money, rework. Either you rework why it is that you're doing this, why you're working this job, or you stop the job altogether and rework your intention. Find another way to find another point of doing your job. Find another job to do that aligns with your intention. Yeah, find another job to do that aligns with your intention, or try to align your intention with the job that you're doing. So essentially, no more waking up in the morning with the understanding of I have to survive. The whole idea of how of exercising, and how the idea of that can be reworked to say, I'm grateful that I can move my body. Okay, gratitude lists, I suppose, that can be helpful. As I'd mentioned a few readings ago, this book is very, very helpful. This book and the activities that it provides, very helpful. It's incredibly helpful. It may sound trivial. It may feel like a trivial experience because the way it's written, it's not exactly for, I mean, there's no, the way that it's written is very, it's for lack of a better term, it's accessible. Like a 10-year-old could read this, so that the experience of working through it may be very unserious. But by the time that you're at the end of the book, you'll be shocked at how changed life will feel. And gratitude as well. I mean, the most the the most the most interactive thing it has is talking about writing gratitude lists daily. Which is incredible work, and is something that even people in the recovery community do. If you're aware of the 12 steps, that's what they encourage. So gratitude lists are magical. I would recommend that, just to get your intentions and visions clear, so you know what it is you're working for, so you know where your awareness goes and what you pay attention to on your daily base on your daily on a daily basis, so you're aware of where your attention goes. Be aware of the kind of music you listen to. Um, Even some of our faves, they rap about total nonsense. Total nonsense. They sing about nonsense. Be aware of what you listen to. Be aware of what you watch. If you're someone who's into like the crime documentaries, you know, be aware of how you're pouring your energy into like murder and blood. It's intense. I come from a lineage that loves that. I used to love it myself, but it started to get crazy when I started to feel more sensitive. Be aware of the series that you pay attention to, the binge watching. Try to focus that. Try to focus on watching things that actually make you feel good, and not things that make you feel good because you're watching someone who is suffering more than you are. Stuff like that. I like to read the interpretation um, to be clear. Yeah, the statement is cutting through the dross. There are many sentences. I just want to hone in on something that jumps out at me. Symbol of truth and discrimination. Acute penetrating power of the mind, which, if connected to the spirit, is a wondrous gift. So, yeah, I keep getting intention here. I just keep receiving intention. So even when you meditate, I normally go into meditation just straight. I don't set an intention. So I suppose, not I suppose, it'll likely be very useful for me to start setting intentions before it happens. Adrienne Mishla from Yoga with Adrienne, she loves to do a preface of that. She goes set an intention before doing the yoga. I barely take it seriously, but she always mentions it and always leads us to she loves to use the mantra I am strong. She uses that a lot, which I think is very useful, and I think would be very useful for these awakening processes that we're going through on individual levels. Okay, so that's really the only thing that's missing. Actually, that's mostly the only thing that's missing, is we need to set an intention and be very, very clear about it, and through that clarity know that it will happen. Don't give entertainment to any feelings of, oh, what if it doesn't, or, oh, why hasn't it happened yet? Know that it will. It absolutely will. What else? Okay. So I guess, Libra full moon, I think more is to be revealed regarding what's going on. I guess for the most part, we can just allow this week to play out. So we set our intention, and then we set our intention, and then we let it happen. We release and go about our day trying to focus our attention and our awareness on the moment, on our own selves, on the way that we feel, and trying to align the way that we feel with presence. I keep feeling like saying alignment with joy, but I think that joy may be a little bit too far of a reach, because I'm getting the sense that there may be challenges that we face with regards to this truth needing to uncover, so that it may feel a little bit heavy. Not to say that we may come to some feelings of depression. We might, but it's not going to feel like depression in the sense of the word. It's going to feel more like we'll be aware of the fact that we're uncovering stuff, that things need to come out, that we're feeling something because, oh, it's just time to feel it. It's time to feel it through. Let me see what the moon is saying. I think this first sentence here, break out of the dark forces of the collective unconscious, has to do with the awakening that we're doing, the reawakening on a personal level, which I'd mentioned earlier, revealing the ways in which we're unforgiving to ourselves, revealing the ways that we are just not good or forgiving to ourselves. Um, yeah, I think that using the unconscious to transform old terrors into creative work. Um, Activating creative work is something that I'm difficult at recommending or saying or doing. Um, so I'm not entirely sure how, but how you would do this if, for example, you're not a creative person, if you're not a right-brained individual. I've been reading a lot and I've been trying to write on a personal level, um, which is to say that I missed out on the supplement writing that I was supposed to do for last week's one. I just wasn't inspired and I had no idea what to actually say because I also just felt like a lot of fate was unfolding. And I was processing personal things that made me feel like I wasn't in a position to give anything. Um, Ability to loosen psychic control, enabling a connection with enchantment and the realms of the fantastic, which I think has to do with the first sentence and with what I'm mentioning, with what I mentioned earlier in the reading, which is to say that we are going through another awakening. It's going to be a little bit of a deep spiritual process, is what I'm feeling. So that is the root of the depression, if we feel it. But the root of just the heaviness that I think we may be feeling. I'm feeling a heaviness may wash over us this week, but we'll understand its root and we'll be able to work through it. And we'll know that it's just trying to shine a light on, um, it's trying to shine a light on inner workings and things that need to be released. So try not to project on other people. Um, yeah, try to rely on the people you love, rely on your community, but rely on the love that they give you. Yeah, this full moon is going to reveal things. Something is going to play out this week that is going to get ourselves to be able to be clear on our intentions and know more about ourselves. I'd like to know more about what this moon is, the moon card. Okay. Right. Okay. So, yeah. The Nine of Cups, the World, and the Two of Swords. I mentioned this last week as well, are needing to zone in on our intentions to be joyful, on our intentions to understand that there's so much, there's more, there's always more. We never run out. You can want and have absolutely anything. You just have to be focused enough on the thing that you want to allow it to come. And to even trust yourself to make moves and decisions to bring in the thing that you want and to work towards the thing that you want. Trust yourself. Trust your environment. I don't think I need to read interpretations for these cards. I'm very satisfied, very happy because this card did fall out last week and is the general vibe that I always mention we're working on. This is what we're getting to. This is what we want. This is what we know we want. This is what we know we want. It's just a matter of choosing it and knowing that, and it's a matter of choosing it and sticking to that decision and not giving up. But I'll also say that with the world falling out, it gives that it's ours anyway. It doesn't matter what we do from here on out. It's more just any feelings of feeling set back, feelings of depression, of lowness, and even any external challenges that may show up are all just things to teach us. They're all they are our external world responding, but trust that it's just It's not external world responding, it's our internal world showing us what's left for us to work through within. Those are the challenges, any challenges that we see playing out or that we experience, or any lowness, low vibes, or depression, or feelings of unworthiness, anything. It's just our internal world trying to say, hey, you still have this to work through. I'm feeling a sense of deservingness or self-worth that might be coming up. So you may be feeling or experiencing layers of yourself, or you may have external experiences that may reveal to you um, how much you think you deserve this, and working through that to come out at the end, and make a clear decision, a clear responding to the universe to say, I do deserve that. I do deserve what I want. I want what I want, and I know that I deserve what I want. And then I'll pull out one more card, just to, sorry, I just want to put everything in order. I want to pull out one more card to bring everything home. Put a cherry on top of the reading to show how it is that we may embody this intention, and to understand how we can, um, how we can start living this out, to understand what are the crux of what it is that may be in our way. As I mentioned, it may have to do with self-worth. It may also have to do with having the fuel, with starting off and keeping it going, because this involves, I mean, we'll take the fire burning, for example. It's going to need wood. So knowing that you have enough wood, being able to trust that there will be enough wood, having the energy and strength to carry the wood to keep the fire going, that kind of thing, which I mentioned may or may not link to self-worth, and how far you believe that you actually deserve the things that you want, how far you believe that you're worth it. Duh. This is great. A wonderful, wonderful closing card. So I think ultimately, I mean, while it is going to be, while it may be, while it may be a challenging week, because this card has fallen out a few times by now. I think we can all understand we're facing challenges. We're seeing psychological puzzles. We're understanding more about what's in our way. It will be revealed with time. We can give time to time. I love that saying. Give time to time. Allow your life to unfold. Allow everything to happen. All with just having a clear picture in mind of what you want. Keep what you want in your mind's eye. Hold a few minutes. It doesn't even have to be that long. Meditations, maybe like 5 minutes, holding the image of what it is that you want. Get the feeling, get the taste. Get the sense of who you would share it with. If there's a good news you want, or a relationship that you want, go as far as imagining the first person you tell. Go as far as how it would feel, how it would feel physically having the person next to you, imagining the kind of things that you would do together, all of that beautiful stuff. Get really specific, get really particular, and then allow time to allow the shadows to reveal themselves and work their way out of you. Allow it all to come out. There may be lots of crying that may need to happen this week, but it'll all just be personal, just an opening, so that we can come to this, to our victory, which will happen. I think it's very, very beautiful that these 3 cards fell out in this reading. I think this only indicates really brilliant, wonderful, lovely news. And I think that we are in a good part of April. We're in a good part of this season. I think it's also partly indicative of the fact that the retrogrades are over. we're really feeling the release of that. So it's good. Um, be honest with yourself. Be honest with the way that you feel. Like I said, be authentic. I think authenticity is the truest frequency of joy and love. Authenticity and truth to the self. Yeah. Realize your power. Um, hmm. Be careful of realizing your power through like flirtation and manipulating other people, because that's always going to backfire. Remember that your power isn't in other people. It's not in the way that you can control other people. That's a very specific messaging, specific channeling. Yeah. And then the king of discs, one of discs. So yeah, this is very good news. It's heavy. It feels like it's going to be a little bit heavy in terms of the whole game of realizing your worth and having that being challenged, or the inner shadows breaking free from the collective unconsciousness is a difficult thing. Um, the oppositions that are at play here, the oppositions at play are obviously going to be very painful to process, but we are on very good standing with the universe. Everything is well. Everything's going exactly according to plan, and in the end, all will be very, very good. It'll be wonderful. We are equipped. We have everything we need. Um, yeah. There are some nuances to the chariot, so I just want to make sure that I have the messaging right, and I want to read the interpretation. Nuances to the chariot in this deck. Um, yeah, successful control over your life, determination, and healthy assertiveness. Conflicting influences, as I'd mentioned with these two cards here, conflicting influences that'll obviously bring out the assertiveness and bring out the clarity. The conflict is necessary, the heaviness and the challenges, inner challenges are very necessary. Um, the conflict may happen between emotion and intellect, but it will have a resolution and it will result in healthy assertiveness. It's it's all happening so that we can be clear with ourselves, clear with how we show up, clear with how everything that is of our lives, clear with the responsibility we have over our lives. We're getting clearer on that. Clear with how responsible we are for our abundance and our own personal joy. While everything that we want is still on its way, we have to understand that we are responsible for bringing it forth by already feeling that it's here. That whole thing, which is difficult, but like I said, is very easy to do with the magic of gratitude. Try to get your hands on this book, or get your hand on the exercises of this book, or maybe try to the magic, Google the book and Google the practices. I'm sure somewhere on Reddit or something, um, someone's posted the activities or the things that this book suggests you to do. And if not, then you can just reach out to me, and I'm more than happy to share the details of what this book suggests for you. Yeah. I also love how how this card links with the title. It has always been about you. It's always been about you. Everything you live is a reflection of you. And hopefully, this coming week, we can start seeing a reflection of our truths, of our actual truths for real. Bit by bit, though, we're working bit by bit. It's obviously not going to all happen at once. And if it does all happen at once, then you're a very lucky person. And we're all blessed either way. So, thank you. Happy week to us all. I'm very excited. As per, I feel like there's always something to be excited about. These are very incredible times that we're in. And yeah, I'm grateful to be alive with you.